Okay, hi everybody. So we are going to do a couple movement deep dives. So we're going to do the back lift and we're going to do the seated twist. And you'll be surprised at how when you do the back lift, you will like if you're sitting in yoga in sitting position in yoga, and you know how it's hard for you might have the experience of not being able to sit upright very easy on your sits bones. The low back kind of hunches over and the shoulders hunch over, and it's difficult. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural to just be able to sit on your sits bones at ease, with ease. That's the hips. The hips get so tight and congested, back, front, sides. So one of the ways we release the back of the hips is by addressing the glute complex, which is the butt muscles. But the butt muscles don't work alone. They work with functional patterns along functional lines. For example, when you walk, the right foot goes forward, left shoulder goes back. And then during when that happens, excuse me, left foot goes forward. Let's see. Right foot goes forward, left shoulder goes back. So, okay, yes, excuse me. Left shoulder back, right foot back, left foot forward. So there's a diagonal pattern of tightening that happens from the back of the left shoulder all the way to the right heel. So that back diagonal, the muscles, basically the muscles of the upper body on the left side of the spine, and then the muscles of right, the muscles of the lower right side from the glutes down, so that those muscles tighten, and then the muscles kind of just on top of the tailbone are participating a bit too. And so we want to make sure that those patterns are activated and the muscles are not stiff. So we want to make sure they're doing their job, and in order for them to do the job, they need to not be stiff. In order to unstiffen muscles, we want to pendiculate them. So we're going to pendiculate the muscles along this big back diagonal pattern. And this is a great movement to do for the low back pain, obviously, because it's connected to this pattern. And so let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do, I was going to say, this is also going to prepare for the seated twist, because this movement, if you have a dominant tension pattern in the back, like sway back, so if the dominant stress pattern is the back being tight, this movement's great at reducing that. So you just keep repeating it daily, morning, evening, consistently, and eventually you're going to have a reduction in tension. If you have decades of stress stored up in there, it can take a little bit to unravel. That's why we like to do a 3-week body transformation to see how much these movements can really help. Um, okay, so let's start by having you face down. So you're on your mat, and I actually do want to preface during this back lift, if there's severe pinching in the low back, um, don't overdo. We don't want to overdo. So if during the lifting you're experiencing pinching, we have to back off. You could have some subluxation in the vertebrae. Um, you might need some gentle chiropractic adjustment to help with that. But ordinarily, for the most of us, for the most part, if there's just a little stiffness and soreness and a little bit of pinching, just back off and just keep working the muscles. We're going to keep doing the muscular system work here with these pendiculations. And often the vertebrae can just align themselves and crack back into place when you release the muscles that are pulling everything out of place. That is common. But so just be gentle. So if there's pain, back off is what I'm trying to say, is the essence of what I'm saying. Okay, so first thing is you're on the ground on your front, and your forehead is resting on top of the palms of your hands. So your right palm's on top of your left, or the left on your right, doesn't matter. But palms are on top of each other, and then forehead rests on the top of the forehands, the back of the hands. Excuse me, forehead on the back of the hands, and then you're just relaxing your arms there. And you can always, If you have to make adjustments, you can use some pillows or some blankets to just do the best to get yourself in this lying down position. If you're cramping, just lying here on the stomach and the ankles and the legs cramp, you can just fold your toes under a little bit. Um, that can be uncomfortable. Could be some magnesium deficiency. Having that kind of cramping going on, it can be uncomfortable. I know it. So it could be some mineral deficiency stuff going on. That can be common. We can talk about that more. That's a part of a deeper conversation, but like caffeine can affect that. The cramping or just a stiffness can affect it. You're feeling flexible in there as you're lying here, and or also mineral deficiencies. So that's not my wheelhouse, but just something to consider. I find when I increase magnesium, it's easier for me to lie in this position and cramp less. Okay, so and then yeah, if you have questions about magnesium supplements, let me know. Not that I'm like no, I'm not an affiliate for anything. Just I can give you some recommendations. Okay, so you're in this position, long story short, and I want you to first of all just close your eyes and just slowly lift the head off the ground a few inches towards the ceiling or sky until you'll notice muscles having to shorten and tighten in order for that head to come up. And then when you can feel muscles cascading down the spine, along the spine, in the back, when you can feel those muscles tightening, go ahead and slowly relax the muscles. They have to relax and bring the head down back onto the back of your hands slowly. And uh, and then just take a breath cycle. So when your head reaches your back of your hands, allow an inhale and an exhale, okay? And we do that as a reminder. The inhale, exhale is a way to just reap the fruits of your work because with one contract and relax, you're going to get an adjustment in the muscle tissue. You're going to get an adjustment in the muscle spindle, which will release some tension in the muscles to some degree, at least a little bit. If you can feel muscles tightening and then you relax everything down, you'll have an adjustment of a release, a reduction of held, stored tension, stiffness, stress, pain. Okay, so you want to receive that mandiculation. So ideally, you learn these movements and you can do one repetition per day, right? And for each movement, and you're going to get results if you slow down, pay attention, and take that breath cycle. You're going to feel a difference, especially when you work all the planes of the body, like I was saying. Okay, so this is kind of a training exercise, and also you're going to get some. You're going to get some. Oh, this is one way to access the muscles of the back. This is particularly behind the head, in the back of the neck, down through to the upper back, mid back, and even into the lower back. So do it a few more times and just experiment. Go slow, and you can increase your head. You can increase the lift of the head towards the ceiling, and when you do that, you'll notice that there should be an increase of tightening. We want to feel the muscles contract and then slowly relax what you're feeling is tightening. Relax it and then let the head fall down. And then you take your breath cycle. If the muscles are very, very, very tight for even when you're lying down there, when you release the energy that's stuck in there, the body is actually able to rest because when the muscles are being held intensely, even though you're lying there doing nothing, the body is not at rest. It's working hard to stay tight from the habit patterns of years and decades. So as you release the stress and tension in the stored muscles, you're going to feel possibly tired, and then people will just start sleeping during class because the energy is being released. The held tension is being released. So the body says, "Oh, finally, I can just relax and rest and go to sleep." So that can happen. Okay, so and while I'm teaching these classes and doing deep dives, I'll talk at you a bit, and you just keep working with my words and customize it to your experience. So you can kind of do what I'm saying and also kind of take in the information to learn. Okay, so let's say you've done a few of these head lifts, tightening and then relaxing everything down. Um, By the way, if you have questions, I teach 5 to 5:30. I do Q&A, so feel free to come here with your questions if you need. Eastern Standard on Thursdays, 5 to 5:30. Okay. So so yeah, you've just we're training again. We want to train your ability to feel the subtleties of the muscles. Now, if as you go slower and slower, you can feel nuances like dominoes, like contracting all the way down, and then feel it release from down all the way up. And so we want to build our sensory awareness, the subtlety of what we're feeling. As we do this, the more sensitive we become and the more subtleties we pick up on and consequently we'll feel more empowered in our body as we move because we're going to just feel more connected to the body and its more in its suppleness and functionality and power. So that's just like a little training exercise. It's also one of the, I think it's technically the first movement that a baby does is lift the head from lying down on the belly and lifting the head up. So it's a primordial movement for us humans. So good. Again, a way to access the back muscles. Now, this isn't the diagonal pattern, but it's a way to access the muscles along the spine, using it as a training exercise. And you're also releasing muscle tension too. So each person is going to be different doing this movement. You might feel like you feel a chunk of muscles tightening, or you might feel that cascading tightening going down and then releasing as the head comes down. Breaths, doing breathing. Do you inhale head up, exhale head down? I don't really know. You can experiment with it. You could exhale and bring the head up, and then inhale. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just do the movement and allow your breath to flow. Just don't hold the breath. That's what I'd say for now, and then we can explore inhale, exhale as we move along. Um, I don't have a preference myself personally. So, okay, so good. And then that is a pendiculation by itself. And so you could do a few of those in the morning and the evening, and it's going to make an impact on the muscles in the back. Now, what you could also do is the muscles along the medial ridge of the scapula. So the ridge of the scapula, like the border of the scapula closest to the spine, between that and the spine itself, there's the rhomboids. Okay, and those are responsible for bringing the shoulder blades towards the spine. So if you're rowing a boat and you row and you pull the oars towards your shoulders, those shoulder blades shorten and tighten and and come closer together, right? And then those muscles, the rhomboids, are responsible for contracting them and contracting and bringing the shoulders towards each other, the shoulder blades. So if you want to, when you do this, you can, forgive me, you can, well, let's see. So one exercise is you bring the head, the first thing we're doing is just bringing the head up and you're leaving the hands there, right? The second thing you can do is just slowly tighten the butt muscles just a little bit, and you can bring the head up with your shoulders together and go slow just a little bit and see how much you're going to access a whole bunch more muscles in the back there as you do that. And if you bring your shoulder blades towards each other a little bit, you'll feel an engagement of those rhomboids too, which are big players and often get very stiff and tight in people, especially with computer work and desk jobs. So that's just another thing you can add as you lift the head. You can bring the shoulders up, tighten the glutes a little bit while you do that to help stabilize the lower body and lift the shoulders up and arms too, right? In that position. And you'll feel more of the back and then release and bring it down. Okay, so again, just another thing you can add on to the upper body in training. And you can always do less. In fact, I recommend doing less, like just doing an inch or 2 inches up and then relaxing down. But we want to make sure you can feel. As soon as you can feel the movements, as soon as you can feel the muscles tightening, that's the ticket. That's when you can actually get some release and reduction in tension. All right, so let's move into your diagonal. The so rotate your head to the left so your right cheek is on the ground or the floor, the mat, And then just extend your arm out a little bit so your middle finger points at the forehead or nose or top of the head. So you're just taking that shoulder out, just getting it out of the way. You could even put, if you want, you can put the arm at 90 degrees, like the elbow at 90 degrees. We just want to get it out of the way. If you bring your, if your hand is in salute your captain kind of position, you're going to access some different muscles. You can feel it when you come up in this pattern. So I'll show you, but you can play with that. Um, like the positioning of the arm and how that affects the what you feel is tightening and releasing. So I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do there. You're going to, with that head rotated, excuse me, with that head rotated to the left, you're going to bring the head up and the hand and the elbow up just about 2 inches. Okay. And then while simultaneously, I want you to lift the right leg. You're going to slowly tighten that right glute and right hamstring a little bit and lift that right leg a couple inches. So your head rotated to the left, your arm extended out like that on the left side comes up while simultaneously lifting that right leg. So that's that diagonal pattern. Lift and then feel the muscles tightening with eyes closed, and then relax all those muscles and totally relax and do a breath cycle in and out. Oh, when you follow that exhale all the way through, the body really gets to just totally receive the movement. And that's your breath cycle. So you're going to do it again. Now, if you want to, when you're ready, lift this diagonal, but take it up a little bit more, like an inch more or 2 inches more. See if you can get a little more feeling without strain. We don't want these movements to be straining. We want them meditational, biomechanical meditation is our focus here. We're not strength training. Like it's not what we're doing. You just can lift, contract. When you get to the feeling of tightening, just slowly relax it down. So we can do 3 in the morning on each side, for example, three repetitions or 1 repetition, morning and evening. Okay, so good. So that's that left, that's that pattern on that side. So you could do one more and just experiment with it. Pendiculate this pattern. Contract and then relax. Okay, so let's say you've done, we do about 3 on this side. And then when you're done, you take your breath cycle, let exhale everything out, and then and then let's switch sides. So go ahead and rotate the head to the right, left arm by your side. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear about the other arm. Left arm by your side, right arm in either a 90-degree position, or I learned it with the hand in kind of a salute your captain position. So you're at a 45 degrees at the elbow and your fingertips are pointing at your nose, rotated with your head rotated to the right now, or the forehead or the top of the head, kind of depending on what's more comfortable for your shoulder. Okay. So so you're in the position, and when you're ready, you're going to go slow and pay attention also to the muscles in the neck. So there's a lot having to tighten in order to lift the bones up. Think of it like a bridge. These muscles, these wires they tighten and it pulls the metal up. So think of it, yeah, think of these muscles like cables, bringing your bones, moving your bones. So same thing, same principle. Start a little slow, eyes closed, focus on feeling, and do a few rounds, kind of increasing your height of the movement each time to get a little more feeling. And then um, what's the word? Take advantage of your breath cycle. So really make sure you exhale everything out when you come down and just totally relax. If the neck is really tight and stiff and the shoulders are stiff, this can be a little uncomfortable. That's why we want to, assist with props. Sometimes it's nice to just see if you put a pillow under your head and you do your best. Again, if you're so tight, if you're in so much pain, in these positions, you probably will, I would say you will benefit from someone getting into the muscles to help uncover some layers so we can at least get you on the ground doing some movements if the muscles are causing the problems, which often they are. So in that case, come in for a bodywork treatment or do a bodywork vacation with me and I can open up all that muscle and all that stored stress and tension from years and years and years, and just get to help get you in a position where you can actually lie on the ground doing these movements. Okay, I'm laughing, but I know it might not be funny, especially if you're in a lot of pain. So, and it accumulates as we age. So with these movements, you kind of do what you can. If you're super stiff and tight, do what you can, but then consider body work as a way to just help open things up. Okay, so good. So I've been speaking, but ideally you've been doing your movements. Let's say you've done three, maybe you've done five on each side, nice and slow. Again, doing these classes, there's training sessions so you can experiment. So what I'd like you to do is after your third to fifth movement, pendiculating, contracting, relaxing, relax everything there and and just notice, bring your head on top of your hands on top of each other like you did in the starting position, and just breathe there for a moment and see how you feel. Now, I made a mistake. Typically, I like to test it. So having you sit in cross-legged position, see how you feel, and then after this movement alone, sit in cross-legged position and see how you feel. Typically, it's easier to sit upright just by doing this, and you didn't even do any intense, hip stretches, which is really kind of incredible. I find that to be the case often when I do this movement. It's just so much easier to sit upright. So make your way to a seated position just for now. Next time you do it, you can do a before and after kind of thing. But for now, just do the after. And you might recall, oh, this is unusual how much easier it is to sit upright. And we're looking for incremental improvements. If there's an improvement, sometimes it's drastic, sometimes it's positive, just incrementally. But just even if it's incremental, we're onto something, obviously. So pay attention to that. So seated position is just you're on your sits bones, you're on your butt in a cross-legged position, and you're just sitting there. Okay, so notice that. You may have felt a difference. You may notice a difference. Just something to note. A valuable thing to note. Okay, so well done. That's your back diagonal lift. That's your back, the big back diagonal. Different names you could call it. The back lift, I usually call it back diagonal pendiculation. A big important pattern for bipedal human beings. So simple, but we never learned it. So you got to learn it, and then you can do it. And then once you do it, you've got this all these planes and patterns. You can pendiculate them and keep yourself unstiff and out of pain as far as muscular system goes, which is a undervalued, underserved population in the medical world. So. I'm making money by teaching you this technology. I'm supporting. This is what I do. I work with the muscular system, and often it gets underlooked so that surgeries can be performed and pills can be taken for pain. And not that it's all bad, but often it's just a need for muscular system management. So, all right. All right, so let's go into seated position. So while you are in seated position, now what I want you to do is we're gonna start with this side. So now if this is hard on your hips, understood, and you're not ready for it, so you can adjust by just extending your left leg out or sitting in a chair if you need to. Okay, because what we want to start doing is separating the trunk, the shoulders, and the neck and eyes and head. Separating meaning like well, you'll see, but we want to unfreeze those movements of this body. This isn't technically a pendiculation. It's more of like a make sure your muscles aren't frozen, which is kind of a pendiculation, but you're not really contracting. You're it's interesting. So it's Moshe Feldenkrais, Dr. Thomas Hanna taught it. It's very valuable, and it's a way to unwind the muscles is the best way I can put it. You'll feel it. So again, if your hips are tight here, your leg is outstretched, and or if you have the flexibility or can do, bring your foot behind you so that you're bent at the knee. So the knee is resting on the ground, your left foot is behind you, not underneath your butt. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. Just kind of lying next to your butt if you can get in that position. And then your right foot is pressed up against the top the just above the knee and the quadricep. So your right knee and outside of your right leg is on the ground as well, and your right arm is balanced is pressing into the ground, or it's there on the ground. Your right hand is on the ground, and you're just stabilizing yourself in this position. Let me see. One second. Yeah. So so your right hand is on the ground, stabilizing yourself. Your right foot is pressing up against just resting up against the top of the quadricep on the left quad. The left knee is bent, the foot is behind you, behind the leg, and you're in the seated position. Now, what I'd like you to do here is I'd like you to put your right hand on your shoulder and just bring your elbow about shoulder width. And this will help you rotate. So we're going to rotate the trunk. So what I'd like you to do is in this position, rotate your head and your eyes and your shoulder to the right. So allow your trunk to also rotate to the right as far as it'll go back. And you can move your arm a little bit. You don't want your arm to be so far out where you're almost horizontal. We want to keep a vertical stance here, a vertical form. So it's just a slight, off center movement to the right. So again, and then you're going to come back to neutral. So you're just rotating everything to the right. You're rotating your trunk, your shoulders, and your head to the right. And obviously, this is taught in the breakdown and the movements in the classroom, if you need to see it visually. But you're rotating everything to the right, and then notice when you do that, that left hip is going to want to participate. So you have that diagonal pattern between the diagonal connection between the right shoulder and that left hip, right? So as you rotate the right shoulder to the right and the head to the right and the eyes to the right, as far as it'll go, notice that left hip's going to want to come up. And now also, and then as you bring everything back, the hips relax. And I want you to focus on relaxing the hips as you do this. Okay, you might notice the hips tensing. Relax the hips and then rotate everything to the right there with that right hand on the ground. So the goal here is to um, just find out how far you can rotate to the right. Okay. Now, I like to say we do that 5 times just to warm up. Okay. Now I want you to, and if your wrists are in pain, that's tricky. You might have something going on. I'm sorry. But you could also put like a cushion there or just be gentle with the wrist. Okay. Um, so you can use a blanket or a pillow to just kind of have a little cushion there, right, for your wrist and hand. So now with that, and you can always bring your left elbow down if you need to take a break. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, rotate your shoulders, your head, and your eyes to the right, and your left elbow is lifted up, your left hand's on your right shoulder. Go as far as you can go, and then pause. And then I just want you to rotate the head to the left. So the shoulders and the trunk are rotated to the right, and then rotate the head to the left. Okay, so you've just separated the trunk and the head. The trunk's moving to the right, rotating to the right, the head's rotating to the left. Now, I want you to rotate the trunk back to neutral while simultaneously rotating the head to the right. Okay, and then rotate the shoulders and trunk all the way to the right and rotate the head to the left at the same time. So do this dual separation, um, dual movement, dual differentiation. Again, shoulders, trunk moves to the right, head will move to the left at the same time. Trunk moves back to center, head moves to the right. So you're just separating the two movements, okay? And if the muscles of the trunk and shoulders and head are really stiff, this will be difficult to do. We want to make it undifficult. So the muscles responsible for these rotations will be forced to, it's almost like you're breaking through the ice if the muscles are icy, right? You're unwinding the ice. Um, so good. You can do that a couple more times, separating the shoulder and trunk and the head. Okay, we're not messing with the eyes, but we're going to add the eyes next. Okay, so now good. Now bring everything over to the right again, like you did at the beginning. So you just slowly rotate everything to the right, and then rotate the head to the left. Okay. And then what I want you to do is in this position, excuse me, rotate the eyes to the right. So your trunk is rotated to the right, your head is rotated to the left, and your eyes are rotated to the right. So the eyes are going different, opposite the direction of the head. Now, if this movement makes you want to go crazy, I get it. It could be, it's unnerving at first, but the more we get it, it's going to feel great. So we have a tendency to look down to the right. I want you to look up to the right and then find the middle in between. That's kind of more of an even horizontal. Um, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do that. And then and then we're doing the same thing. This is what it is in principle. You move the let's see, you move your trunk back to the center, your head moves to the right, and where do your eyes go? As your head moves to the right, your eyes start to move to the left. So you're separating the head and the eyes in terms of movement, and then your trunk is also going separate the head. Right? So keep moving like that. And if it's hard to do, it's because the muscles are frozen. And as you continue to do this, you're going to start breaking through the ice. You might feel frustrated and there could be emotions in the stuckness too, which is fine. We're just going to keep doing it. Just keep moving. So again, for example, you rotate your trunk all the way to the right, and then as far as it'll go, you rotate the head as far as it'll go comfortably without pain. And then, of course, you rotate the eyes to the right comfortably as far as it'll go with the head rotated to the left. And then switch everything up. The trunk goes to the straight, trunk goes towards the middle. Um, Trunk goes to the middle, head goes to the right, eyes start to float to the left. And you want to get it so that your head, trunk, eyes, and head move together smoothly as one thing moves. So we want to feel like the movements are interconnected. And that's going to really be evidence of the muscles being soft, smooth, unstiff. So as we want to move in that direction. And if you're just doing a little bit of it, even if you're separating a little bit and doing your best and it's just feeling uncomfortable and it's very choppy, we want to make the movements smooth. But as the movements are choppy at first, which they often are, don't worry about it. Just keep doing it. It's if you do one movement, even if it's choppy and uncomfortable, that's progress. Okay, so celebrate that. Good. Now, so you pause there, okay? And typically, you want to just do maybe three full movements, and you can practice too with if you're on a chair or if your leg is outstretched, not bent. Just try separating the head and the head and the trunk, and take the trunk as far as it'll go, rotate it one direction, and then rotate the head the other direction, and just go and then rotate the trunk the other direction and the head to the other side. So you want to dual differentiation training and then tri differentiation, three movements differentiated. You also can just do the head and the eyes. You can rotate the head to the right and then rotate the eyes to the left. And you can practice like that. And then vice versa, head to the left, eyes to the right. Okay. You want to just make sure you're doing these movements to just make sure that the muscles are on stiff. And this will make a dramatic effect this will help reduce tension in the neck and shoulders and drop. If the shoulders are used to being close to the ears, this will help release the shoulders down and make the neck long and reduce tension in the neck along the spine. And that's another thing too, is as you're rotating the head, the muscles in between the cervical vertebrae into the upper thoracic, well, actually the whole, even the back is rotating. So the whole spine is really, most of the spine, if not all of the spine, is rotating here as you rotate trunk, head, and eyes. And there's connections between the eyes. I feel like and there's literally connections. You can feel the connection, and also notice that as you do these movements, relax the hips, and you'll notice that as you integrate the eyes, it's going to affect your breathing and your hips. And do unlock the breathing and make sure as you're doing the movements, you're also not stopping the breath like a cork. So uncork the breath, allow the breath to flow during the movements. Okay, good. So that's tri differentiation on this right side, rotating the trunk to the right with that left knee bent, left foot behind you a little bit, or left foot, rotated towards the back of the body. So that's the horizontal plane on this right side. Now let's do the vertical plane. So I want you to rotate your body to the right, and then put both hands next to each other. So you just put your left hand, about 2 feet from your right hand, or thereabouts. So now you're in that seated position again, still. You're in the same position with your legs, but you just rotate your trunk and put that left hand down next to your right hand. Okay. So you're stable there. Ideally, you're stable there. If you need, you know, towels, pillows, blankets for your wrists, go ahead and do it. Um, or if you're in a chair, you just, do it in your chair. So the first thing you're going to do is you're rotating the head up in this position. So you're rotated, hands down, and then take the head up, and then take the head down as far as it'll go, and then up and down. Okay. So muscles behind the head, like we addressed earlier in the back lift, are contracting as the head goes up, and then they're relaxing as the head goes down. Crazy, right? Well, it's true. And we don't ever pay attention or feel that happening. We might, but most of us are not. So see if you can close your eyes and just feel that for a moment. Just connect to it. Okay. Now, now as you're doing this, let's say, okay, so starting position, forgive me, I'm just gonna have a sip of water. Okay, so as your head goes up, I want you to, forgive me, starting position, head up. So your head is rotated up. Now I want you to look down. So now your head is up and your eyes are down, right? Now, as you bring your head down, I want you to slowly uh, glide your eyes to look up. Imagine you're at a tree. You can even do this with a tree or a pole. Slide your eyes up as your head comes down. So there's dual differentiation here on the vertical plane. Your head goes up, your eyes float down. As soon as your head moves, your eyes move. As soon as your head moves, your eyes move. Up, down. Separate the two movements. Head goes down, eyes goes up. As soon as the head starts moving, eyes go up or eyes go down. Okay? So you want the same pace of movement as the same pace of the neck and head moving is the same pace of the eyes moving. Now, if it's choppy and then it means we have stiffness in the tissue. The nervous system is disconnected. We don't have less motor control than we need to have supple muscles and relaxed muscles. Okay. I'm making statements. There could be other things going on. So take everything with a grain of salt because you could have other issues that are not about motor control. You might have Lyme disease that's affecting the neurological system, right? So just take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I can't include every possible scenario in the teaching. It's impossible because there's so many variations. But in general, the more we smooth it out, the more motor control we're going to have. In general, I could safely say. Okay, so that's your vertical plane. Again, you can do one up and down with the eyes to just make sure that pattern is not frozen. You don't want your eyes frozen to your head. It's going to affect the neck and consequently the hips. Because guess what? The neck and shoulders are, wait for it, connected to the hips and low back, obviously. And if someone says, "What do you mean?" You just you just take your hand, put it on the neck and head, and then just bring your hands down your chest, across your abdomen to the hips, and you'll see, oh, it is connected. Yeah. That's kind of funny that it would be considered not connected. But in this day and age, uh, we wouldn't put it past us either. So, in fact, I've heard it before. So those are connected. And now let's go ahead and switch sides. Okay, so great job. That's tri-differentiation or the triple twist or unfreezing the neck, shoulders, and eyes. Triple twist is kind of a nice way to put it. Tri-differentiation is a good way to do it too. Um, so so let's do the other side. So your position is now right foot behind you, bent at the knee, right knee, and then the palm of your left foot is just gently pressing into the top of the right hip, right, and then your left leg is just resting on the ground there. And then place your left hand on the ground to the left of you, just stabilize yourself, and then you put your right hand on top of your left shoulder, and then just go ahead and rotate over to the left slowly. So rotate shoulder, head, eyes, torso, everything over to the left as far as it'll go comfortably. If there's any pain, back off and start again. And then notice that pattern. Notice that diagonal pattern between your left shoulder and your right hip. As your left shoulder moves back, that diagonal pattern releases a little bit, has to lengthen in order to take that left shoulder back. And there's a diagonal contraction between your left shoulder and your right hip as you rotate back. And you're also rotating the spine, and you're getting some trunk rotation too with the obliques and abdominals, transverse abdominals, right? So there's a lot happening here that we aren't feeling normally, but now's your time to feel it because again, feeling the muscles contract and relax and differentiate is going to help us have a unstiffened body, an unpain-filled body as far as the muscular system goes, which is directly affecting the joints, the space within the joints, spine, hips, etc. Okay. Well done. Now, so you've done five, like we did at the beginning of this on the other side. You've done five rotations to the left, eyes closed. So you're just getting a sense, and again, biomechanical meditation. Go slow, uh, and use this time during your daily practice. This is a reminder. Use this time as a form of meditation so that it's really enjoyable. Create the time to take care of yourself here. Make it a self-care practice so that you're not building stress and strain um, and compensation patterns for injuries and things on a daily basis. Okay, so so you've done five to the left here, and you might feel like, yeah, this side's a little different, or if there's any pinching, again, back off. Now we're going to move into dual differentiation. So your starting position is going to be everything rotated to the left with that hand, left hand down. Again, your right hand's up on the left shoulder. Arm is up. If your arm needs to be down, this isn't if you're in seated position on the ground, but if your arm is down, you might feel like you have less rotation. And so if you bring your arm up, you can just move, you can rotate more. You can feel more rotation happening. That's why we lift the arm up if you can, but it can get tired, rest it, relax it, no problem, right? Uh, During the day regularly, you're just going to have it up there for a little bit too. But training, you can overdo it a little bit. So just be careful, be mindful of that overdoing. Uh, so the next thing is dual differentiation, right? So you bring everything over to the left and then your head to the right. Now, take your head over to the right as far as it'll go comfortably while your trunk is rotated to the left as far as it'll go, and then separate the two. So then rotate the trunk to the middle, head to the left. Okay, so head and trunk separate. And then rotate the trunk to the left, head to the right. Rotate head to the left, trunk to the right. Okay, as far as this will go comfortably. And if you're in a chair or if your legs outstretched, do what you can, work with what you can. Again, if you can't get in these positions, consider getting some deep tissue trigger point release therapy with me to open stuff up so you can be more functional and be able to do these movements. Um, um, okay, so again, you know, 3 to 5 movements, and then we just move right into the eyes. So starting position for the eyes, rotate the trunk to the left, head to the right, eyes to the left. Now, as you look down, as you look to the left, most of us rotate the eyes down a little bit. So to find a more true side, to find a true horizontal line or equator, lift the eyes up to the left and then find the middle. So they look down to the left, up to the left, and then find the middle between the two of those. And that's a good starting position for now. And you're not leaning so far to the left, you're just kind of upright, slightly off the center line to the left with that hand down on the ground. Again, pillows, towels, blankets needed if needed. So we're in try differentiation, um, and keep moving through this. Okay, so just rotate the trunk and head, separate those two. And then as the head moves, the eyes move opposite the head. If the head moves to the left, the eyes start moving to the right as far as they'll go. If it's choppy, there's stiffness in the muscles. These movements are they're frozen. We want to unfreeze them. We want to warm them up, melt them through repetitive movement here. Differentiate. Trunk, head, eyes, trunk, head, eyes. Okay, good. Keep going and go slow. And just do a few more. Go slow and then relax the hip. Relax the hips as you move. There's a tendency for the hips to kind of clench up while you're doing this or tense up. The good time to say, hey, hips, you don't need to work right now. Just chill and let the hips relax. Okay. So, good. So just do one or two more, nice and slow. Again, biomechanical meditation, slow, focus on feeling. You can focus on all your other tasks in daily life later. Right now, it's just you and your body, which you need to feel good in order to feel good about being in life. For the most part, I'd say. Um, okay, so now let's move into the vertical. Okay, so well done in the horizontal. You notice, hey, this side's a little this, that, it's different, maybe similar, less or more stiff. And way to go on just moving through the movement to just unstiffen things and integrate and build motor control uh, with these three movements. So the vertical axis now. So rotate everything to the left and bring your hands by the sides, about a foot to 2 feet by their sides. And bring the head down and bring the head up. Close the eyes for now and just see if you can connect with the muscles responsible for the head going up and the head going down. Nice and easy. Mechanical meditation. Feeling body, feeling the functional movements. This is a foundation too. Obviously, there's a million movements you can do in different ways. So we can use this to build and expand on our movement repertoire. But for now, this is the most functional, most basic. Most fundamental. Okay, so then add the eyes. So as the head goes down, you can start with head down, and then eyes are looking up the tree. And then, for example, and then as the head goes down, the or up, the eyes float opposite direction. So our head was down, and the head goes up, eyes float down. And see if you can get the movement at the same pace, like pistons. Right goes up, left goes down, left goes up, right goes down. See if you can feel that. Okay, nice and slow. Slow and smooth, and focus on the somatics, the internal experience of your feeling. All right, doing great. Let's do a couple more and then we'll be done. Okay, great. So wrap that up, and then you can slowly make your way up to standing. And again, I made a mistake. A we didn't do it before and after. I like to do that ordinarily. So in daily life, it can be helpful too if you can make the time for it. But for now, we're just going to do an after. Sorry, I robbed you of that experience. Oh, not funny, and also funny. So 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 move to standing and just walk around. Make walk in a circle and just feel yourself in space as you from after doing these pendiculations. There should be some less tension and stress in the neck and shoulders, unless it was very stressful for you and you accumulated lots of stress. Again, when you're just learning this, it can be a little bit tricky and uncomfortable. But focus on relaxing everything and going slow when you do these movements. It's the opposite of stress and strain, is slow and relaxed. So we want to approach the movements with a slow, relaxed mindset. Think luxury, think meditation, biomechanical meditation. All right. So that's it for today. I wanted to just focus on the back lift with some of that somatic training, and then the diagonal back lift, and then your seated twist, your tri differentiation. So way to go. And again, as always, just learn the basics and then um, learn these fundamentals and then give it a fair trial, give it a few weeks, learn all the movements, and then do them all in the morning, do them all in the evening. If you have time for just three, you do three. You do modular training and practice on your own. Um, and otherwise, if you can, though, spend 20 minutes in the morning doing all of these 13 movements, nice and slow. And then in the evening, I mean, nothing's more fundamental to the muscular system than these functional pendiculations. And then you can always add your long stretches and your deep hip openers with stretching. It also feels really good. but we don't want to miss this biology. We want to make sure we're gleaning and reaping the benefits of this biomechanic, which we don't know how to do instinctively. We have to learn how to do it. So here you are learning how to do it, practicing it, way to go. Eventually it becomes so basic, like this is so simple. And it is so simple, but once you learn it, get a gist of it, then you got something your whole life you can use to banish stiffness and aging, the effects of aging, which are the myth of aging in this regard is not actually the fault of aging. It's the muscles being so tight that it's making you feel old because all the energy is wrapped up in the muscles. So we want to free that energy up, free the posture, confidence returns, space in the lungs, you know, all good stuff. Okay, well done and good work. And I'm gonna leave this up for a week, and then I'm actually gonna be leaving this class. There's gonna be I'm gonna do some of these since we've just relaunched the academy. I'm gonna leave some of these recordings in the classroom, and they'll just be a description of what we took a deep dive into in terms of like, which specific movements we deep dived into. Okay. All right. Way to go, guys. And I'll talk to you later.